We see protagonists standing there, enjoying all the romance and butterflies, and from the look in their eyes, all the hopeless singles out there can definitely feel the sting. Then she heads home. And now begins the phase of silliness, or more accurately, the early crush awkwardness, where each one says a simple word and then gets shy about it. They even find excuses to stay standing together as long as possible, so when he tells her good night, she replies, "You too." And our guy starts swooning, then leans in even closer, and boom, he kisses her on the forehead. Now hold on, what do you think this is? This is a respectable summary from a respectable lady. After what happened, she starts feeling confused about her emotions. When Kafur leaves, Kars comes out and yells at her for coming home late. She tells him, "You're not my dad, don't talk to me like that." He lets it go, and just tells her to come inside behind him. But she gets more upset, because to this day, she still doesn't know who her father is. When she goes into her room, she finds a new message from Kafur checking up on her. She starts jumping on the bed from happiness and sends him a message back, thanking him and wishing him sweet dreams. A couple of seconds later, her hormones start kicking in and she tells herself, "Get it together, girl. Are you seriously getting soft? This isn't our vibe." Then she gets another message, this time from Yuri, who's checking in on her and asking if she has her vacation days planned, but she ignores him, doesn't even reply. I swear I'm about to throw a slipper at her. Who ignores a red-haired cutie like that? A little later, she gets a third message, and it's like, what is this? An episode from a show or what? The message tells her that they have to meet on Monday after school. Our girl is surprised, and when she asks why, she's told that he has information about her family and her brother. She's even more confused now and doesn't understand anything. The next day, she goes back to school and the results are supposed to be out and posted in the hallways. It's total chaos, and all the department sections are crowded together. Then one of the guys, a classmate, comes over acting all pitiful and asks to borrow some money. To make sure she listens, he starts flattering her. And it actually works. She agrees to bring him the money the next day. She tells him she needs to check her results first, just to be sure. But the other students are making a mess, so he tells her not to worry and yells at everyone to clear the way. Looks like the guys in that department are all confident and smooth. Anyway, our girl Jay is celebrating because she passed and got an 84.5. But then she remembers Sai Inu and their deal. She freaks out because he's the only one in the whole department who got a full 100. He comes up behind her, grabs her, and says, "Gotcha." She's confused, like, "How'd you do that, you slacker?" He tells her he's actually a genius, and when he's not feeling motivated, he struggles to study. But when he sets his mind to something, he reaches it. He reminds her not to forget their deal, then walks away. Enter Yuri, asking her why she didn't reply to his message. He's really upset. Since she doesn't have an answer, she does a see Inu move and runs away. When she gets to the classroom, she bumps into Kafur. She grabs her bag and tries to leave, still awkward about what happened the night before. But he stops her. Before he can say anything, she shushes him so no one finds out. When she spots Sai Inu, she uses him as an excuse and goes to talk to him. They speak quietly, very discreetly, because the rest of the students are now totally focused on them and eavesdropping like crazy. Then Si Inu, being the big mouth that he is, blurts out their deal and tells everyone that Jay is supposed to kiss someone today. All the guys get hyped, and each one starts prepping himself. She screams, "My reputation! Are you kidding me?" and hits Sai Inu for causing all this. Then the guys agree that whoever she chooses will get dealt with by the rest, so each one tries to outshine the others, so she picks him. Our boys are standing quietly like, "Aren't we good enough for you or what?" Kafur shuts everyone up and tells them Jay will choose whoever she wants, and no one should pressure her. The most excited of all is Yuri, especially when she starts walking toward him. Kafur notices and gets jealous, but then she surprises them all. She goes to David and kisses him on the cheek, because he's the only one asleep and not involved in this drama at all. She promises him she'll explain later. The guys gather around David and give him a proper beatdown. Suddenly, she gets a message from Percy, asking her to meet him at the mall today, and not to tell anyone. She rushes over, but when she arrives, he calls her and says he can't meet her after all because she didn't follow the agreement and brought people with her. Of course, maximum privacy is needed, and he tells her that all the talksome guys are watching her. She takes the opportunity to ask him if Felix's brother changed. He says yes. She's shocked, because they all thought he was dead. He tells her it's a long story, and he'll explain when they meet. Then she asks him again, "Are you my brother?" And he tells her, "Your brother has been by your side this whole time, but you just haven't realized it." She starts crying hard, clearly emotional. The guys jump in like, "Who's talking to you and upsetting you like this? We're going to find him and sort him out right now." She yells at them, telling them to stay out of her business and stop spying on her. She tells them she was here to meet Percy, but he didn't show up because of them. And of course, when they hear his name, everyone is stunned. They go back home and bring out the photos. Felix points to one of them and she confirms, "Yes, that's Percy." It becomes clear the guys are hiding something big. They finally agree to tell her now. We learned that back in the day, there was a crew made up of Yuri, Kaffer, Kars, and Percy. One day, Percy decided they should all go out driving. They were all nervous because none of them really knew how to drive. After hanging out, Kars wanted to leave quickly because they had taken his brother's car without permission, but Percy insisted they stay a bit longer. On the way back, they got into a fight, and suddenly, they had a car crash. Yuri and Kaffer managed to jump out of the car, the rest got thrown from it, and they managed to save Kars, but Percy was nowhere to be found. They thought he had died. Now, the guys suspect that Percy is back for revenge against Kars for what happened. That's why he's trying to get close to Jay. He might use her, so they beg her to stay away from him. Either way, they promise to protect her and won't let anyone hurt her. So Flexi yells at them because that's his brother, and Jay feels for him and reassures him that if he talks to her, she'll tell him. When she gets home, she's tense and overthinks everything until Percy calls her. She tells him she knows the truth and asks if he's using her to get back at Gars. He swears he's a decent guy and would never do that, and that soon she'll know the full truth. She ends up staying up all night, so the next day she falls asleep in class. Koki takes advantage and snaps a pic of her laughing. Suddenly, she wakes up and catches him, chasing him around to get the phone back. Since the guy's super tall, it's not easy. He keeps dodging her, while all the other guys laugh, except Yuri, who's clearly jealous. Eventually, she manages to grab the phone and deletes the story, but realizes there are other photos of her. She's visibly upset and jealous and wants to get away from him, so she grabs her bag and sits on the other side next to Yuri. Then Kaffer says, "I'm always behind you," and sits next to her too like, "You're not escaping me." They stay like that, playing musical chairs until the teacher walks in. She ends up having to sit in the middle, but still nudges her chair toward Yuri, who uses the chance to get closer. Of course, Koki won't let them be, so he edges closer too. Where's the discipline, the morals, in this class? When the lesson starts, the teacher talks about a certain university, and all the students get excited, except Jay, who has no clue what's going on. Yuri explains that the school is arranging a visit to that university so students can get a feel for it, and if they like it, they can enroll. Anyone who wants to go has to fill out a form, so Jay takes one. Koki's asleep, so she tosses his paper on his hand. Clearly, she's not a fan. Sweet Yuri tells her to take advantage while he's asleep and get revenge. He hands her a pen, and she looks at Koki and says, "God made you this handsome, so you deserve this." She draws a horrible mustache on him. The class bursts into laughter. When he wakes up, everyone goes quiet. He asks Jay if she did something, and she says, "Of course not." But once he sees his clown face on the phone, he tells her, "I'm gonna get you." Yuri, the good guy, holds her in place so Kaffer can draw on her too. She gets mad like, "Wow, so much for having my back." And Kaffer draws her a ridiculous mustache too. Then he goes around to the rest of the laughing students. Meanwhile, Jay meets the guy she lent money to and hands it over. When she asks why he needs it, he says it's an emergency and swears he'll pay her back. He's not a thief. She replies, Yeah, you all say that. We'll see." When she gets home, she's shocked to see some classmates there. The bully, Mika, and Ella. And of course, the bully starts picking on her until Gar steps in and yells at her like, "You're seriously gonna insult our girl?" Ella, the sweet little cutie, invites Jay to eat with them, but Jay, feeling jealous, refuses and says she's full. As soon as she turns around, though, she rushes to the table, because of course there's a plate of sweets waiting for her. While eating, she keeps staring at Ella, thinking how beautiful she is without fillers or Botox. She's stunning even when she cries. No wonder all the guys are going crazy over her. Jay feels she could never compete with that, and she's sure Kaffer doesn't love her anymore. There's no way he moved on that fast. She's hurt and starts crying just as the maid walks in and asks if the food's that bad. Jay tries to cover it up by saying, "No, I'm crying because it's so delicious." The next day at school, she runs into Cyan, who asks if she's submitted the university form yet. She says not yet. Suddenly, she gets a call from an unknown number and assumes it's Percy. She's sure Cyan is a gossip, and if he finds out, he'll expose everything, so she walks away to answer. Turns out it's the guy she lent money to. Again, he says he needs more money because he's in big trouble. When she asks for his address, he says, Kingsland. Yuri happens to walk by, and when he hears that name, he freezes. The bigger shock comes when he learns Jay wants to go there alone. He stops her and insists on going instead, but she refuses and says, Nope, I'm going with you. When they get there, the guard at the entrance recognizes Yuri. Clearly, this place holds some secrets. They hand over their phones and go inside, where they meet a guy in a weird outfit nicknamed the Tiger. Turns out he owns the place and is surprised to see Yuri after so long. He says, Good thing you brought your girl so she can see what's up, and starts chatting with Jay. She's scared, holding tight onto Yuri's arm, refusing to let go. We learn that the place is for gambling, and those who lose and owe money have to fight in fast-paced battles. Yuri asks about his friend's debt so he can pay and leave, but the Tiger refuses and says, You know the rules. If you want to take him, you have to fight in his place. Jay begs him not to, but Yuri insists. He asks their friend to take her away and keep her safe because what's about to happen is serious. Jay follows him, and the Tiger leads them to a VIP area with food. The cold friend starts stuffing his face while Jay's upset, thinking about Yuri. She says, I can't eat a bite until I know he's okay. The Tiger, being a smug jerk, tries to flirt with her, and she's not having it until he mentions he's an old friend of her cousin's and also knows Kafir. That piques her interest, and she starts eating like, Okay then, spill the tea, don't leave me hanging. He tells her that Kafir and the gang used to hang out there all the time until he and Yuri got into a fight about a girl, and nobody came back after that. Since Jay loves gossip, she grabs the snacks to listen and enjoy. But her friend embarrasses her by saying, Guess you're not really hungry, you're just scared for Yuri. She remembers Yuri is probably in the ring right now, so she runs off to see him. Meanwhile, Koki is sitting with his friends with tons of food, and he's saved some for her. When he calls her, her phone is off, and he gets worried. His friends notice and say, Why do you care so much? Why are you so tense? So he yells at them to cover things up and demands they find out where she is, since they've hacked her phone. He's shocked when he learns she's with the Tiger. Meanwhile, Yuri is already up in the ring, and we find out his first time there was back when he fought Kafir over a girl. Yuri had held back and taken the fall from the very first hit just to let Kafir win, but this time he's not backing down. Now he's fired up for her, and with one move, he wins the match. Well, he's a badass husband after all. After that, he heads straight to Jay, who's a total mess, falling apart and deeply upset over him. She grabs the guy who caused all this drama and starts beating him up. When Yuri notices, he pulls the cold guy away by his shirt like, Move, we need to talk. As soon as he walks away, he hugs Jay and reassures her that he's fine and won't fight again, for her. Then he tells her the same story the Tiger mentioned and confirms that he doesn't love her anymore at all. They're about to leave, but the Tiger stops them and lets them know there's still another round, this time against his ideal opponent. He's talking about Koki, who shows up at that exact moment. Koki snaps at the guy who brought them there and grabs Jay to take her away, but she stops him. She asks why he came after her and why he's so concerned. He tells her he's constantly worried when she's not near him, and that this is not the time or place for questions. They need to leave. The men try to block them, but come on, it's Kafir we're talking about. He takes them all down like a beast and makes a run for it, gripping her hand tightly. She notices that the guard at the gate is actually smiling as he watches them, and honestly, so are we. But Yuri, the only one not smiling, stands there alone, feeling like she's slipping away from him too.